Talking about codependency, talking about detachment issues as a grown adult, at least for me, it's pretty intimidating. And it took saying the words out loud to a group full of people for me to ever feel okay enough to talk about these things, even with another person, much less a group of people, much less however many people see this video. Um, but they're a part of my life. They are a part of me. They're a part of my past, my present, and probably my future. And they're things that I have to address. They're things that I have addressed. They're things that will take a lifelong commitment for me to ensure do not make my relationships difficult, do not make my life difficult, my personal growth difficult. But it has been a part of my personal growth journey, and that's been very important to me over the past year or so, personal growth. And recognizing and acknowledging my codependency and my detachment issues, especially in the wake of yet another failed relationship, has been very important for me. And I think it should be important for you too if you feel like you have even the slightest hint of awareness of detachment issues in your own life or codependency in your own life. It's worth looking into, it's worth sitting with, it's worth talking to another person about, especially if you value your relationships and you value the person you're with. Um, like when let's say you have a partner and they're going to some social event that you're not a part of, you start to feel, these worries, these concerns. You start to get this sort of anxiety, and then these questions come into your mind like, what if they find somebody better at this party? What if they meet somebody that makes them laugh more than I do, or makes them, is more charming than me or funnier than me? What if she never comes back? What if they, so many what ifs come into your mind, especially if you've had like a traumatic childhood, a traumatic past of any sort, at any stage in your life. These questions can pop up. And I should say, before I go any further, I'm not a mental health professional. Do not take my word as gospel or as scientific fact. These are just experiences. I'm sharing experiences, things that I have been through. And that anxiety that you feel when the person is gone might, it might make you want to smother that person. Smother them with questions, smother them with your affection, smother them with your reassurances to get their reassurances. And it's at that point where I think your relationship is already suffering quite a bit, because any good relationship needs a good foundation of trust. And to assume the worst of this person going away, to assume the worst of this person leaving your presence for a short amount of time, or whatever amount of time, even if they tell you and they reassure you, which they shouldn't have to, that they're not going to meet somebody new and they're not going to cheat or they're not going to be unfaithful or whatever, you've already started to erode or betray that layer of trust. And in my experience, it's also been, it's like you explain away this smothering that you show the other person as, this is how I show that I really care. This is how I show that I really, that I value this relationship. I want to do everything that I can to protect it. You're protecting your relationship. You think you're protecting it because you're getting out ahead of the perceived threat, or you're getting out ahead of what you think could happen. Everything that's happening to you right now is happening in this moment, as we speak, as we breathe. Everything that's ever happening to you is happening right now. The stuff that could happen, those are the things that kill us. Those are the things that make people with codependency issues, with detachment issues. That's the thing. Those are the things that make our lives miserable. The what ifs, the future, and you're not pathetic. You're not like, you're not childish. You might think you are. You may have been called that, but you're living out a trauma response. You are living out an emotional flashback, and you just are not equipped to deal with it. You just do not have the tools to deal with it, and the tools are out there. for absolutely no money at all, even. You just have to seek these tools, and you have to do the work. You have to face it. And when I say that this is kind of like a lifelong thing, it may be intimidating, but what I have experienced, and what anybody who's in like a group like Codependence Anonymous, for example, might tell you, is that once you start doing it, it does not seem nearly as daunting, especially because you start seeing results. You start to understand how much space for both partners can be like really rewarding, can be a really good thing, and you start to experience the rewards. So it doesn't seem so much like work necessarily, but it seems more like growth, personal growth. And you need to give space, and you need to have space for yourself too in order to grow. And that's why space is such an important thing. And that is something that tanked many a relationship I've been in, is not accepting space, not giving space, room to grow, room to breathe, room to do your own things. You know, I felt like in my past relationship, I had to share absolutely every interest I had with this person. I felt like everything we did had to be things that we could do together. I even thought about songs. This is, and I even remember saying this out loud to my former partner, and thinking that there was nothing bad about this. Like, when I would think about songs that I would put on my playlist, I would only think about them in terms of, would my partner enjoy this song if we were in the car together? Like, that's not good. Maybe if you're planning like a road trip playlist or something, sure. But if like every song you listen to, you start to think about like what somebody else might think of this song, or what somebody else might be thinking if they heard you listening to this song, that's no bueno. That is not good. And all the more reason that, you know, where was I going with that thought? Oh my God. Oh. Basically, you need to sit with that thought. You need to sit with it, and you need to understand why it is that you are thinking about this other person in all of these details of your life. You're associating with them. It's you might think it's hopeless, maybe, but it's not. It's really not. And the goal is to take all of these negative emotions and these negative feelings and these negative thoughts, and to turn them into something positive, turn them into something actionable, which is what I have been doing more or less for the past year or so. And I've personally seen a huge change in not just my relationships with other people and the way that I approach other people, but also with myself. Like, proving to myself that I can do something like this, something as hard as admitting that, yeah, codependency has been a big part of my life, as have detachment issues. And now I know where they come from. Now I know how to deal with them. Now I know how to manage them before they start to go to my partner or my friends or my family, or well, family, who's there. But you know what I mean. Like, I know how to sit with these things. And I've said that probably 100 times in this video, maybe other videos, but sitting with negative feelings and sitting with negative emotions is very important, I think. Because when you sit with them, you acknowledge them, and acknowledging them is a hell of a lot better than just running away from them and pushing them away. Because acknowledging them in the moment, which we all live, which all things are happening in this moment, helps you find ways to deal with them, helps you find ways to find things to channel them into, even whatever. Much better than running away, shoving them down, hoping that they'll just work themselves out. Just quick spoiler alert, they're not going to work themselves out. You have to do something. You have to do the work. And that's something that I wasn't doing at all. So sure, that's what I wanted to talk about with this video. And I hope that you can remember some of the things that have been said here. Again, I'm not a mental health professional, just sharing my experiences. Giving space is absolutely vital to your relationships. room to breathe, room to grow, room to do your own things, room to have your own friends, to have your own experiences and your own things. You've all got things, but you don't have to do all of those things together, you know? Like do your things, just do your thing. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that for now. So have a good day, folks.